What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Baby Blog. This week, we are doing a Parentcast, a podcast where we talk about not only parenthood, but also pregnancy. Let me tell you right now, this podcast will get real. So, parent discretionary advised. That's how you say it, right?
Parental discretion advised.
Yeah, I was trying to be fancy. So this podcast is actually for parents and parents to be, or maybe you already are, young parents especially, because I right now am pregnant and I'm young, very young. So, the reason why I started the baby blog, if you have been reading for the past month, is to really encourage each other. This is a community, especially pandemic babies. It's a lot. We've been in a pandemic for about 2-3 years now, since like 2019, I believe. Yeah, it's been
2020.
okay. It's been a bit. That's what I will say. And I know that in this time, a lot of people out there, especially that are expecting, might not feel like they have anybody. So please join my podcast for all the things that are typically not talked about in your day-to-day pregnancy books, parenting books, parenting apps, pregnancy apps. We keep it real here. So for all of you that don't know me, my name is Genesis, and I am the creator of the Baby Blog. With me, I have my wonderful partner in crime, Keyshawn, who not only talks about his aspect on fatherhood and parenthood, parent to be, but also is a co-writer for the Baby Blog as well.
Hello. Thank you for having me here. Well, I'm always gonna be here, babes. But yeah, I'm just gonna start off feeling a little cheeky because, audio difficulties, technical difficulties, and things like that just sometimes get to you. So, you gotta have fun with it.
We had
But
a lot,
yeah. But first and foremost, really, I want to say thank you for, taking your time to listening to this podcast. And I hope that you gain something positive from this. And, we're going to talk about a lot, share our experiences, and discuss a lot of topics about parenthood and pregnancy. And we're going to try to debunk a lot of those myths that come with, new parenting, especially. So, that's what we're here to do. And we're going to do it well.
Yeah. For all of you that don't know, you can follow us on our social medias to not only DM us questions, ask your questions. If you like to go old school, you can email us at the babyblogseries at gmail.com. The rest will be in the comment section. We're definitely gonna, try to upload this to YouTube and things like that. So if it gets there, look in the description for where to find the baby blog, the official website, emails, contacts, all of that, because we are a community-based podcast and blog. And so if you ever need to reach us and you ever have any questions, I guess what people would say off the clock, you can hit us up.
Yeah, I guess you could say off the clock. Why not? But should we get into the questions?
Oh yeah, let's get into the sauce.
The sauce.
The
Do you
sauce.
hear this? The chicken nugget to the sauce.
Not the
Okay. So we got for the first question, the first chicken nugget, right? We have, with the whole COVID thing going on, I know prenatal care and doctor visits might be a worry. Are you worried about any of that, especially with sickness spreading all the time? This is one of the questions that we have from an anonymous viewer, and why don't you take the wheel on this one?
Okay. So am I worried? First of all, no. I believe strongly in affirmations. There are times, I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm superwoman. There are definitely times when I worry, I get in my own head. But that's not something particularly that I worry about. I am not one for doctors. I'll say that. I'm a very herbalist, earthy type woman, and it's actually found in my culture and in my traditions that I carry so well. So during this pregnancy, doctors have not been a high thing on my list, especially with COVID going on and all these things spreading. A lot of OGBYNs can be often found in hospitals and things like that. So I've been very considerate of my health. So I wouldn't say it's a worry. I would more say it's a preference. I would rather, take my prenatal care, like my vitamins, and eat healthy, and especially because I'm so early on, be cautious about my health when it comes to doctor visits and things like that, because you never know what's spreading now. Um, and especially so quickly, I'd rather be cautious than to more so put myself in that worry state of going to checkups, like every 2 weeks or whatever the case may be when they schedule you, and risk, that chance, even if there are um, pre-mandatory things in place. What do you think?
Um, I'm gonna have to say honestly, with the whole COVID thing going on, parenting definitely might seem, a bit frightening at first for a lot of, first time parents, and possibly even some experienced parents as well. I would
Mm-hmm.
say definitely that worrying is it comes to a point to where you have to really be able to take control of your own life.
Mm-hmm.
You can't sit and worry 24/7, because honestly, where are you finding your peace? You have to have peace in your life, especially if you're raising a child. You don't want to have constant worry all the time. You want to be able to move through your situations with ease and with a clear head. So I believe worrying is definitely going to throw you off of that path. But I also think that prenatal care is definitely a highly important thing to do on your pregnancy checklist. I think, making sure that you're intaking the right proteins, nutrients, and vitamins, so that way your body and the baby is healthy and able to grow. It really starts from your personal health as well, even before you go to a doctor for the external you know care as well, if that's your choice. But I do think that taking care of yourself and making sure that you're doing and taking the right health precautions with yourself is highly important, especially when you're at home, even when you are out in public. um it's something that hygiene is, should be a thing. It shouldn't not be an uncommon thing or a norm because of a pandemic, you know. And there's a lot of ways to go about that, especially if you're a first time parent and you might have a few things that bother you. There's always ways to go about it. Sometimes you just have to go out there and do the research yourself.
Mm-hmm. I think that us becoming new parents, especially if I'm speaking from transparency, um, it's really easy to worry, especially when you're a young parent, especially for the first time. You're expecting your first kid. You don't know what to expect. Your body's changing all the time. His body's changing all the time. He has cravings. You have cravings. Blah blah blah. Like it gets nuts. um, so I think concern might be a better term, and that might be more expected as you go through this time of consistent transition. Well, not consistent, more you changing all the time is pretty set in stone. You're not ever going to be on one wave when it comes to pregnancy and parenthood, especially, right?
Yeah, I could definitely say you're gonna go through the motions a lot. You're definitely gonna question a lot, and I think that's the beauty of it. It's just being able to think for yourself as a parent at this time. But as for the next question we have here, have you ever thought about doing natural birthing? There's definitely different ways to go about natural birthing. Some women may prefer going to a hospital and pushing the baby out, no epidural. Some women see natural birthing as a water birth, or a home birth, or like a birthing center. They have those options as well. And um I like the idea of a natural birth. I definitely think it's a beautiful thing, and it's done the way as it should be by nature. What do you think?
Um, for me, I do and am we are planning to do a water birth. I chose to take life by the balls and do it completely natural, and I think that that's kind of One of the best ways that you can do it, there's actually a lot of benefits when it comes to water birth, the prevention of ripping, things like that. There's aqua water method as well when you get around like 35 weeks pregnant. And I actually saw this from a TikToker. I'm going to leave her name in the description, give her all the credit, because if it was not for her, I never would have heard about this. And now I can, think about that and start to prepare that with my water birth. A lot of women that I've talked to, especially when it comes to the whole birth, a lot of them actually wear off of the epidural um, within the first like 30 minutes of them getting epidural when they do take it at the hospital. And it kind of actually makes the pregnancy a little harder, because when you do have epidural, it goes right in your back. It's a big needle, right? And then you don't feel your legs. It kind of numbs you from the waist down, like if somebody's putting like a cavity numb in your gums. At first you feel that pinch, but then afterwards you kind of feel nothing. You feel like the pressure of the drill and things like that, for anybody that's got a cavity fill. So I mean, you can there's nothing to compare birth. Obviously it's a different experience, it's a different pain, it's a different everything. I can't even explain it yet, haven't gotten that far yet. But what I can say is that a lot of women say that usually the epidural was quite literally not worth it for them. Um, and then there's women that do it completely natural, where they don't get anything and they just push if need be. And it's a totally different experience, especially doing it where, a lot of hospitals have you sit on your back, which in my opinion is going against gravity.
Gravity on your back. I hear a lot about that as well, especially with like hospital birthing.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of options and methods, and sometimes women don't have really the option to choose. So I definitely think choice is important during these times where especially when it comes to your pregnancy and the care of your prenatal care, and your birth in general is important. It's a sacred experience and it should be held with high regards.
I definitely agree with what you're saying. One of the main reasons, as well, that I'm choosing water birth is because it's a very, in my opinion, spiritual type of experience that you could have. Not only is the baby developed in the, help me out here, my brain.
Womb.
No.
Womb.
Okay, well, what's placenta? See, and this is this is what happens when you work long days. Yeah, the baby is in the placenta, which is filled with water and fluid, and just them being now birthed into the world, a world full of water, a world very different from the world that they were living in for a whole 9 months, some even shorter than that. I feel like it's a different type of experience to have, and I'm really big on just living life to the fullest. I didn't want to do things that were kind of expected to do, like hospital and or like hospital birth. Those things kind of in this day and age are tradition. It's expected, and a lot of people don't take that leap to do like a water birth or even natural birth. A lot of people kind of just go into the epidural. But need again, I say, when you're in that type of setting, when you're going through, birthing, and that's an emergency, and you got like 10 doctors screaming at you, and you got nurses coming to you every 5 seconds, and it's a very stressful procedure. And I feel like a lot of hospitals don't go based off of that woman. They go based off on stereotypically what women should and should not do during those birthing times. I feel like a water birth is a little more personal, where you get to choose what is necessary for you, especially if you are having somebody help you, like a doula or a midwife, which I highly recommend if you are choosing water birth, for it to not just be you walking yourself through, right? You're having somebody that has done this before, that understands that type of experience and can guide you and necessarily aid you with everything that you're going to need. So that is what I have to say on that matter. We're going to go into the next question now. How do you think pregnancy was like before actually experiencing it? This is one of my favorite questions. First of all, before I got pregnant, I was not thinking about pregnancy whatsoever. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I was thinking about my birthday. I was thinking about going on a cruise. I was thinking about, you know, carnival in Dubai. That's what I'm thinking. I'm not thinking, what's it gonna be like being pregnant? I had a lot of people around me growing up that were pregnant, as far as like family members, things like that. My own mother being able to tell me experiences about her pregnancy. Um, so really, I thought it was more so just like you get pregnant, you go through these changes and out comes a baby. I didn't really know what to expect. I never really had a preference or even a solid perspective or idea on pregnancy. Now, when I got pregnant, it was totally different from anything that I thought it was gonna be. You'll see written in my recent updates on the blog, which happens every Monday. You'll see that I talk about morning sickness, how different it is, how different it hits every woman, and how your body changes so quickly from, being able to eat 10 burgers before that to then being able to barely hold down water, if your morning sickness is severe as severe as mine was. And then you have the times where, like you really don't have any morning sickness. I've talked to plenty of mothers already that have told me, like I really didn't get that sick, and I'm like, oh, good for you. Meanwhile, I was like, Key was like spoon feeding me like brown sugar for me to not look pale as a ghost and like survive. While like initially, a lot of women will also keep it real with you and tell you it kind of feels like a parasite, feeding off of your every bone, nutrition, vitamin source of energy. I'm not gonna sit here and say that my pregnancy feels like a parasite. I'll definitely say that now that I'm out of the heavy morning sickness stage, I'm sure back then I felt different. I'm sure I felt like I was dying, which in fact I did. Not gonna lie. It was hard. For me, it was very hard to even feel normal. The weight that I lost, a lot of people don't tell you, like, they're like, oh yeah, you might lose like 15, 20 pounds. Like, I'm pretty sure I lost like 25 to 30 pounds during my morning sickness. I was legitly holding down nothing and puking up like stomach foam. And I survived. So if that is you right now, breathe. You will make it through. I know it may seem impossible, but I'm telling you right now, once you get that first craving of, oh my god, I can like eat food, like food smells good again, nothing's really, bothering my stomach to the point where I feel like I'm gonna die. Once you get that first craving, you're good. You're actually on your way to being good to go. What I will say is that eat with caution. um Definitely eat with caution when you get out of those woodsy areas of morning sickness. Eat with caution, because you'll think that you can hold down 5 burgers, and realistically you can only hold down like a bite of that. Do not overpower yourself. Do not eat with your eyes. Because I do that like all the time, especially even now that I'm like super hungry all the time. I'm like, I can eat like 10 meals, each different entrees, and then like I get it and I'm like, hell no. Couldn't even do that.